The film begins with a man named Do Jin-woo, who has a special power that he can see someone's future just by touching their skin. One day, while walking through the city, Jin-woo passed a clothing store and saw a beautiful woman named Jin Hee-young trying on clothes. Jin-woo was amazed by her beauty, but quickly left because he had to get to work. His job was perfect for his ability. He worked as a fortune teller at a cafe. When he arrived, a customer was already waiting for him. At the same time, Hee-young entered the cafe with her friend, Mi-suk. She came for a fortune-telling session. The cafe owner, Young Dao, noticed Hee-young and secretly admired her. He asked Jin-woo to read Hee-young's fortune. Jin-woo agreed and approached Hee-young and Mi-suk, sitting across from them. Hee-young wanted to know about her future with her boyfriend, as she dreamed of marrying him. However, her boyfriend was always busy with work, and she worried he wouldn't propose anytime soon. And Jin-woo, sensing her concern, gently asked Hee-young to hold out her hand. As he touched her hand, he saw a frightening vision of her future. In his mind, he saw Hee-young lying lifeless on a staircase, wearing high heels. The vision shocked Jin-woo, but he told her what he saw. He warned her to be careful and stay alert. However, Hee-young and Mi-suk didn't believe him. They laughed it off, thinking Jin-woo was just pretending to be a fortune teller. After Hee-young and her friend left, Jin-woo told Young Dao what he had seen in Hee-young's future. Young Dao was shocked to hear that the woman he cared about might be in danger. The next day, Jin-woo applied for a job at a cosmetic shop. It wasn't just any shop, cause it was the place where Hee-young worked. Jin-woo went undercover to follow Young Dao's request to watch over Hee-young and make sure nothing bad happened to her. Thanks to his friendly and kind personality, Jin-woo got the job. While working at the shop, Jin-woo kept an eye on Hee-young and tried to find a way to change her future. He waited for the right moment to touch her hand again and check if her fate had changed. His chance came when their boss asked him to help Hee-young check some products in the warehouse. But his plan didn't work because both of them had to wear gloves while working. After their shift, Jin-woo and Hee-young had a quick chat before her boyfriend arrived to pick her up. From a distance, Jin-woo watched as she left in her boyfriend's car. Later, Jin-woo reported back to Young Dao, admitting that he hadn't been able to touch Hee-young's hand and still wasn't sure about her future. One day, Jin-woo's boss invited everyone to a karaoke party to welcome the new employees. Jin-woo didn't want to go since he wasn't a fan of noisy parties, but his boss insisted, so he joined. Soon, Jin-woo got bored and stepped outside for some fresh air. To his surprise, Hee-young, who also seemed tired of the party, followed him. Together, they walked to a nearby park and spent some quiet time there. While playing on the swing together, Jin-woo couldn't help but feel drawn to Hee-young. Her cheerful and kind personality made him feel at ease. But he quickly reminded himself that he wasn't there to fall for her cause, he was there to protect her. The next day at work, Hee-young complained that her feet hurt because of the high heels she was wearing. Seeing her in pain, Jin-woo decided to help. He took her to a shoe store and bought her a pair of sneakers so she could walk comfortably. On their way back to work, Hee-young's boyfriend, Hyun-soo, suddenly arrived to pick her up. Hee-young left with him right away. After she was gone, Mi-suk walked over to Jin-woo. She teased him, saying that he must have a crush on Hee-young. Jin-woo quickly denied it, saying he was just being a caring friend. As Mi-suk playfully tapped his cheek, Jin-woo accidentally saw a glimpse of her future. He saw that Mi-suk would be proposed to in a very romantic way. Excited, Jin-woo shared the good news with Mi-suk, but she didn't believe him at all and just laughed, saying he was imagining things. That evening, Jin-woo noticed Hee-young waiting for the bus to go home. He followed her and ended up sitting next to her on the bus. They had a fun conversation, and Jin-woo enjoyed her company. Soon, Hee-young grew sleepy and leaned against Jin-woo's shoulder as she drifted off. Jin-woo saw this as his chance to check her future again. He gently touched her hand and saw that her future hadn't changed. This time he noticed that someone else was nearby in the vision. Worried, Jin-woo told Young Dao what he had seen. Young Dao suggested that Jin-woo follow Hee-young after work to make sure she got home safely. Jin-woo agreed, determined to keep her out of harm's way. The next day, Jin-woo sneaked into his boss's office to find Hee-young's home address. Meanwhile, Hee-young went home early because she planned to go on a date with her boyfriend, Hyun-soo. That evening, Jinwoo, who was already near Hee-young's house, hid when he saw Hee-young and Hyun-soo arriving. However, they noticed him. With no choice, Jinwoo stepped out and introduced himself to Hyun-soo. After Hyun-soo left, Jinwoo and Hee-young sat on the stairs outside her house. Hee-young opened up to Jinwoo, saying she really wanted to get married soon. She dreamed of living a happy life with her husband and even imagined going on a romantic date to Namsan Tower. But because Hyun-soo was always so busy with work, she felt her dreams might not come true. Jinwoo felt sorry for her and encouraged her, saying she deserved all the happiness in the world. Once Hee-young was safely inside her house, Jinwoo prepared to leave. But then he noticed a man acting suspiciously, watching Hee-young's house from a distance. Feeling uneasy, Jinwoo decided to follow him. When Jinwoo caught up to the man, he managed to touch him. To Jinwoo's shock, he saw a vision of the man attacking a woman from behind. Before Jinwoo could do anything, the man punched him in the stomach and ran away. The next day, Jinwoo discovered that Hee-young was meeting someone he didn't know. Worried for her safety, Jinwoo hurried to find out where she was. Elsewhere, Hee-young was meeting a man who seemed interested in her, but she firmly told him to stop bothering her. As she answered a call on her phone, the man suddenly grabbed her from behind and covered her mouth. Just then, Jinwoo arrived and quickly stepped in, hitting the man to protect Hee-young. At that moment, Jinwoo immediately recognized him, cause it was the same man who had been spying on Hee-young near her house the night before. The man turned out to be a stalker who was obsessed with Hee-young. They got into a fight, and the man managed to knock Jinwoo down with a hard blow. Things got worse when the stalker pulled out a knife and tried to attack Jinwoo. But just in time, the police arrived, as Jinwoo had called them earlier to report the assault. Seeing the officers, the stalker quickly ran away. And Hee-young, shaken and scared, hugged Jinwoo tightly and apologized for getting him hurt. Because of his injuries, Jinwoo had to go to the hospital for treatment. A little while later, Hyun-soo visited Jinwoo at the hospital to thank him for saving Hee-young. After Jinwoo recovered and returned to work, he got busy helping with a big event hosted by the cosmetics shop. However, just as the event was about to start, the actress who was supposed to be the guest star was missing. Her manager explained they had a fight, and the actress had stormed off. To solve the problem, Jinwoo discreetly touched the manager to glimpse the actress's location. With the clue, Jinwoo was able to find her and bring her back in time. Thanks to his efforts, the event went smoothly without any more issues. After the event, the actress thanked Jinwoo for helping her. Noticing Hee-young looking curious, Jinwoo quickly told her that nothing had happened between him and the actress. But Hee-young just laughed and said he didn't need to explain himself because he wasn't her boyfriend. Soon after, Jinwoo decided to quit his job at the cosmetics shop. He felt his mission to protect Hee-young was complete. When Hee-young found out he had left, she felt sad and disappointed. She tried to find him, but couldn't figure out where he had gone. One day at work, Hee-young bumped into the same actress from the event. The actress recognized her and mentioned that Jinwoo seemed to really like her. Hee-young was surprised and didn't know how to feel. Confused, she called Hyun-soo and asked him to go on a date. But as usual, Hyun-soo was too busy with work and turned her down. Feeling lonely, Hee-young decided to visit Namsan Tower by herself. To her surprise, she saw Jinwoo there, also alone. He looked cooler and more stylish than before. Hee-young was stunned to see him. Since they were both alone, they decided to spend the day together. They visited fun places, ate delicious food, and enjoyed each other's company. While sitting on a park bench later, Jinwoo suddenly leaned in and kissed Hee-young. Both of them felt awkward afterward, unsure of what to say. That evening, as Jinwoo was walking Hee-young home, he decided to check her future again to see if anything had changed. When he gently touched her face, he realized that her future hadn't changed at all cause it was still the same as the vision he had seen before. Jinwoo started to wonder if the future could really be changed after all. At that time, Jinwoo realized that he was wrong cause Hee-young was still in danger. Worried, he decided to follow her wherever she went to keep her safe. One night, after Hyun-soo dropped Hee-young off at home, Jinwoo saw him meet the man who had attacked Hee-young before. Hyun-soo handed the man an envelope, which made Jinwoo suspicious. Jinwoo decided to follow the stalker to find out what was going on. But before he could learn anything, the stalker was killed in a hit-and-run accident. Feeling something was off, Jinwoo started keeping an eye on Hyunseo. That's when he discovered that Hyunseo was having an affair with another woman. A few days later, Jinwoo visited the cosmetic shop where Hee-young worked and found her with Hyunseo. The two seemed close, and Jinwoo was upset. When Hyunseo noticed Jinwoo, he accused him of following him around and being creepy. Hee-young, upset, asked Jinwoo to stop bothering them and to leave them alone. As Hyunseo was leaving, Jinwoo purposely provoked him. Hyunseo got angry and punched Jinwoo in the face. But during the punch, Jinwoo saw a vision of Hyunseo's future, that he was with his mistress. Determined to protect Hee-young, Jinwoo sneaked into his old boss's office to look for files about her. He found a document and took a picture of it. However, he was caught by both his former boss and Hee-young. Hee-young was furious and deeply disappointed in Jinwoo. There, Jinwoo tried to explain that he was only trying to protect her from the terrible future he had seen. But no one believed him. They all thought he was making things up and going too far. One day, Mi-suk was at work when a man suddenly approached her with a romantic gesture and proposed to her. She was shocked but quickly remembered that Jinwoo had predicted this would happen. Realizing that Jinwoo's ability to see the future was real, Mi-suk rushed to meet him at Youngdal's cafe. She told Jinwoo that Hyunseo planned to propose to Hee-young near Namsan Tower that night. Hearing this, Jinwoo grew even more worried, as he recalled the vision where a ring was near Hee-young in her dangerous future. Meanwhile, Hee-young was having dinner with Hyunseo at a fancy restaurant. She thought this was the moment he would propose to her. But Hyunseo had a sinister plan. He wanted to get her drunk, take her to the top of the stairs overlooking Namsan Tower, and push her off so her death would look like an accident. After dinner, Hyunseo brought a slightly tipsy Hee-young to the stairs as planned. At the top, he pulled out a ring and asked her to marry him. However, Hee-young, unsure of her feelings, gently refused. She told him she needed more time to be certain about her love for him. Hyunseo's mood changed immediately. Furious at her rejection, he began insulting her. He revealed that he never loved her and only used her for his personal gain. Hee-young, terrified by his sudden transformation, stood frozen as Hyunseo became more aggressive. At the same time, Jinwoo, who had been searching for Hee-young, spotted a couple at the top of the stairs near Namsan Tower. Remembering Hee-young's dream of being proposed to there, he quickly got out of the taxi and ran toward them. Just as Hyunseo was about to harm Hee-young, Jinwoo arrived and stepped in to protect her. In the struggle, both Jinwoo and Hyunseo fell from the top of the stairs. Jinwoo was badly injured and covered in blood, but he managed to save Hee-young. As he lay unconscious in Hee-young's lap, he looked peaceful, knowing she was safe. At that time, Jinwoo had to stay in the hospital for a long time because his injuries were very serious. When Hee-young visited him, she told him that Hyunseo had been arrested by the police for trying to hurt her. She also learned that Hyunseo was only after her life insurance money. If something happened to her, he would have received 1 billion won. Hee-young felt so relieved that she was safe and thankful to Jinwoo for protecting her. Jinwoo told her that she was too kind and trusting, which made it easy for bad people like Hyunseo to take advantage of her. The film ends with Jinwoo and Hee-young sharing a kiss and officially becoming a couple, ready to start a new chapter together.